All right, everybody, we're back. You're Wrong Podcast, college basketball. This is your number one source for college basketball information all season long. We're locked and loaded. It's already week 4, episode 4. I'm Jake.
I'm Julian, and this time we come with actually good news because the next episode you're going to see, not this one, but the next one, we're going to be in person. I'm coming back from college. Next, You're Wrong Podcast, college basketball episode in person. It's going to be a great experience.
Huge. That's huge. So we're going to jump into some notable scores that have passed since our last film. I think we last filmed on Tuesday, so we got a lot of games that have happened since then for sure. First game I want to touch on is the Byu Oregon game. We didn't really cover it that much. We just gave who thought we were gonna win. We had Oregon. Obviously, that was dumb on our part. We know they just started something new over there. They got a lot of transfers in there. BYU is a team that has a bunch of returners. Like I said, Barcelo, if he gets hot, you can't beat that team when he's hot. He shot 9 for 11 from the field, 25 points. They just never looked back. Oregon couldn't get good looks. They weren't shooting the 3 early on too, which was kind of confusing because I thought that they were going to be a 3-point shooting team this year for sure. But I'm not worried for Oregon. I think Oregon's going to bounce back coming up in this tournament that they're going to be in. So what did you think about that game? Anything?
You know, it's kind of didn't happen how I thought it was going to, but at the same time, it takes Dana Altman a while to get his teams rolling, and especially with all these new transfers coming in. Definitely didn't expect a 32-point blowout though.
Yeah.
But good thing we didn't bet the game. That's all that matters. You know, we thought Oregon, but we weren't that confident to put our money where our mouths were. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, just some of the other top 25 games that we talked about. Some of them. Seton Hall went to Ann Arbor, beat Michigan. I'll talk about that a little bit more. George Mason, they beat Maryland, or they upset Maryland. We know Maryland's not that good. Xavier, they fended off Ohio State at home, and Kentucky, they broke away from Ohio, but it was close there for a little bit. So I just wanted to touch on Seton Hall for just a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into it.
I said they were gonna beat Michigan outright. No, I just loved the matchup. They were my Big East sleeper too, but I did not expect Trey Jackson. I actually didn't even know who it was before the season started. He had 6 rebounds, 3 of 3 from deep. He was the spark plug for that team, and I can't believe I didn't know who that was before the season. I actually had to text my friend. I was like, who's number 15? I had no clue who this is, or number 2, I think he is. Yeah. Ike Obiago, he had 4 blocks. Seton Hall as a team, they held Michigan to 3 of 15 from deep. And the scary part about this team is Jared Rhoden hasn't even found a rhythm offensively. So I think the sky's the limit for this team. They just got a huge win. Number 4, Michigan. They got Ohio State this week, I think, and then I think it eases off a little bit for the non-conference opponents. But for my Big East sleeper in the preseason, I like what I'm seeing so far.
Yep, for sure. I think Seton Hall showed a lot of flashes of being a good team for the Big East, which we weren't high on the Big East as a conference in a whole. We thought, UConn and Nova and nobody else matters, but we got teams like DePaul undefeated right now, winning games. Mm-hmm. Like, I just think that I think Eli Brooks looked good though for Michigan, like we were touching on before. We thought he needed to look better. He showed signs of stepping up, kind of 17, 6 and 4 on 46%. Not bad. That's kind of what you can ask for from him. I think that Caleb Houston just looked awful. Like, it was bad. He couldn't get anything to fall. There was a lid on the rim the whole night. 1 for 9 from the field in 39 minutes. He played the most out of any player on Michigan. It just wasn't a good sign or showing from him. And neither team shot the 3 well. It was kind of it was kind of a shit fest, from the 3, if we're gonna call it that. It was 30% team 3-pointer from Seton Hall and 20% from Michigan. That's not gonna win games. They're just not gonna win games. 20% from the 3 is not gonna win you a game. And honestly, I seen so many missed free throws down the stretch that the game could have still went either way. You know what I mean? There was about 5 missed free throws from both teams down the stretch. I think that they have to be better. Honestly, college basketball as a whole, there's been a lot of missed free throws. I watched a couple missed free throws earlier in the Clemson West Virginia game that could have made the game go either way. Luckily, West Virginia pulled away as they should have, but the missed free throws in college basketball just confuses me at this point. I don't know why teams are shooting so poorly from the field.
I say it all the time. I'll be watching the games with my dad, and we both look at each other. We're like, these guys are one step away from playing professional basketball, getting paid millions of dollars, and you can't make free throws at it because you're shooting 50% from the line. What are you doing? I mean, we get mad because we got bets on it, but it kind of just like puts it into perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
But Seton Hall, they did what I knew they had to. It had to be a defensive grudge match. They had to execute the game plan to walk out of Ann Arbor with the win. But let's get on to George Mason upsetting Maryland. The only thing I really have to say there is Mark Turgeon. He's an awful coach. No matter the talent he'll have, he'll never get anything done just because of how bad of a coach he is.
He got out coached. He just gets out coached constantly. It's getting bad at this point. I think Maryland just doesn't look good. I don't know how they're ranked still. Obviously they won games, but they should not be ranked after a couple more weeks, in my opinion. They just want a nail biter to Hofstra. Not that Hofstra's a bad team. It's just like they should be beating up on Hofstra. You know what I mean? They have the clear-cut better talent. They only beat them by 2 points. They lost this game by 5 points. Like, what is going on there? Like you said, Mark Turgeon just isn't getting things done. He's getting out coached by these small schools with these coaches that are just sticking it to him. I think George Mason mostly pulled away though because they shot the 3 better. I don't like to beat a dead horse with the 3-point shooting and the free throws, but teams that shoot the 3 well are gonna win come March. You know what I mean? So if teams are already doing it early, it's good. It's good for them. Yeah. So I don't think Maryland's gonna be a threat in the Big Ten this year. They can't take care of easy games, obviously, but it's still early. Kind of. We're still seeing some things develop.
Yep, they have the talent, but talent can only go so far. But
oh, you're lagging.
I kind of want to talk about this next game with you, especially with you. I'm lagging. Am I good now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so I just want to talk about this next game with you, Xavier and Ohio State, because I didn't know, but I kind of just like the spot for Xavier. They were at home. It's an in-state game, Ohio. And I just wasn't high on Ohio State at all. They have EJ Liddell, and I love him, but I hate the rest of the team. I hate the guards. They don't do anything. They have no guard play at all.
Like you said, Zed Key can't be your second best player. Like you said last week.
He can't at all. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I bet Xavier, you bet Ohio State, but when you found out I bet Xavier, you sounded like Xavier was the team to bet. So
yeah, after I heard you did it, I was like, damn, yo, he kind of just psyched me, because honestly, like, I was torn between both teams, but I've watched more Ohio State this year, so I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna go with OSU. It should be a clear cut a win for them. I don't know much about Xavier this year. They haven't played. Well, they both played Niagara. Let's say I knew that they both played Niagara, and it was both a close game. So I was like, all right, then the spread being 2 or 3, whatever it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? I think Xavier barely beat Niagara, and Ohio State beat them by like 10. So I was like, all right, it could go either way, but I'm better off taking Ohio State. I know they got the best player on the floor. In my opinion, EJ Liddell was the best player on the floor in that game and before the game. He's the marquee name, you know what I mean? But he looked really sloppy in the first half. I think he wasn't getting what he wanted to. And then I think Chris Holtman got into him at halftime, let's go, come on, this is your team type of thing. He's the only reason it wasn't a blowout, because he came out in the second half and just was tearing it up. But Xavier, they looked good. I'm not going to lie. They looked pretty good for another, Big East team that we weren't really high on. They looked pretty good. So yeah, Big East looks good right now. Marquette looks good too. I don't have we don't have any segments for Marquette, but they look good too. They beat Illinois pretty good the other day. I think that was a good win for them.
Yeah, they do. And I think you misspoke a little bit. You said EJ Liddell was the best player on the court. I think it was Jack Nungy. I think he was the best player on the court that night.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
That's
that
my
night,
man.
yeah, he had 14 points,
That's my
14
man.
rebounds.
He had a double double. You know, I wasn't. Yep. But I don't know. I would say when Zach Fremantle comes back, watch out for Xavier. Because they have the talent. You know, Nate Johnson, we saw that. Paul Scruggs, he came alive late, but he wasn't doing anything all game really. But I think Zach Fremantle is kind of what this team is missing right now, and will get at the perfect time to get ready for their tournament run.
Yeah. So I'm gonna leave you with a question here for this last little part that we were talking about with Ohio State and Xavier. Do you think it's time to worry about Ohio State competing for a Big Ten championship, or is it too early?
I think as soon as I think they were down at halftime to Akron. I think that's when it was time to start worrying about them competing for the Big Ten. They were just overvalued coming into the season. They were ranked in the top 25. They lost so many players. You
Yep.
know, their team runs through EJ Liddell and Kyle Young, and you know, both great players, but Michi Johnson, Malachi Branham, I touched on him before. I think he'll figure it out, but it's going to take him some time. But yes, I think it is time to start panicking. Even though I don't think the Big Ten is that good at all, I think Ohio State is honestly a big part of that. But I wouldn't consider them a Big Ten contender at all right now.
Yeah, for sure. I don't see it either. Honestly, they were my sleeper at one point, but it's starting to get scary. I'm starting to question my thoughts on that. But there's still a long season ahead. We'll see what they can develop into. But all right, rolling into the Cheez-It Hall of Fame tip-off classic, whatever you want to call it, tournament that happened on Saturday and today. Villanova and Tennessee, man, was that a bad game for Tennessee, man. Just Kennedy Chandler couldn't get anything going. Villanova dominated and never looked back. It was like 35-15 or something at halftime. It was a crazy score. Honestly, blew my mind that this was happening. We knew Villanova was good though. You know, we were high on them for the Big East. They had three guys in double figures. It's a well-balanced attack from them. Justin Moore, arguably, is becoming one of their best players, in my opinion. Colin Gillespie still, I love him, but I think Justin Moore is emerging as their go-to guy. You know what I mean? He had 13 points as well. Tennessee, I thought they don't have a true scorer yet. You know what I mean? They have Kennedy Chandler, but they need to find a true scorer, maybe a bench guy that can come in and score the ball for them at an efficient rate. But you can't have 15 points at the half. No matter how good of defense you play, you're not going to do anything scoring 15 points at half. You know what I mean? You can't win a game doing that. So they need to find either a more balanced attack scoring with all guys in double figures in the starting lineup, or they need to have Kennedy Chandler average 20 something a night, which he can probably do that because he's really good, but he also is a freshman. But yeah, I think Jay Wright outcoached Tennessee too. Yeah, he was big. That was a big win for them. They needed that statement win.
Yeah, no, they definitely needed that win because like we touched on them losing to UCLA, you know, they needed to bounce back and they needed to show us that they're still a team to worry about. Jay Wright at a neutral site, you know, I don't really know why I didn't bet Villanova. I kind of looked at Tennessee's roster and got scared away. And then I saw they had 0 points like 8 minutes into the game, and I was just like, why did I not bet Villanova? But I definitely agree with you about Justin Moore. I think he's becoming their best player, but I think Gillespie, I think he's their most important player. You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
Gillespie's the kind of guy, he doesn't need to have 25 points to really to really control and affect the game. You know, he's taking charges. He's guarding the best play. He's guarding the best guard on the floor. He's commanding the offense. Whatever he's doing. But the thing is with Villanova, and I hate to jump ahead because we kind of saw it in the game versus Purdue too. There's just no bench production at all. You know, Caleb Daniels, he stepped up, but he can't be your only scorer off the bench. Like you
Yeah,
got one guy who's capable of scoring more than 5
yeah.
points off the bench. It just can't happen. But I liked what I saw from Villanova in this Cheez-It. But they got to figure out how to close games. They got to, because like I said, the game against Purdue, we're up 10, blew it. Game against Villanova, we're up 10, blew it. They got to figure out how to close games. They're a veteran group, and that's something very uncanny from an experienced group like that.
Yeah. For sure. I think that for Villanova, I think they to move into the next game, I guess that we should talk about is Villanova Purdue. Villanova should have probably won this game based on how they were playing early. You know what I mean? Coming down 10 minutes left in the second half, they were still winning the game. You know what I mean? So I think Caleb Daniels was the only reason they were even remotely in that game, though, because he shot 5 for 7 from the 3-point line. But Zach Edey just proved to us he's probably one of the best bigs in the country, behind a couple guys. You were high on him coming in to the season. He showed out today, 9 for 12 from the field, 21 points. Purdue's going to be hard to beat when they can score 90 points per game. That's what they were averaging before this game, about 90 points per game. They had 5 guys in double figures today, almost 6. They killed Nova on the glass too. I think Villanova still, we thought that they found their replacement big men, you know what I mean? But I don't think they have. I think it's going to be a struggle all season for them on the glass. But you can make guys into better rebounders, you know what I mean? It's not a skill, it's
and that's what I think Jay did against Tennessee, because they did kind of control the glass against Tennessee, which was good to see. But you're not going to be able to do that every game. You're not going to be able to play 5 or 6 guys and have them crash the glass and have them run the court. So I think their struggles all year are going to lie in that rebounding / depth category, and it's going to be hard for them to figure it out. But in terms of the Purdue game, they had it. They dominated that game for 32 minutes, but ultimately Purdue was just too much. Purdue is 9-10 guys deep. Their 10th guy is just as good as their best guy. So they're gonna be a tough out, and they're gonna be a wagon in Big Ten play.
The only thing that I would say about Purdue is, like, I'm kind of concerned about their defense at this point going forward, but they are scoring the ball at will, so I'm not really that concerned. But you got to play defense sometime. Like, they played UNC on Saturday, and they gave up 84 points. They only won by 9 points. It's like UNC's not a high team this year. No one's really looking at UNC to go to the Elite Eight, go to the Final Four. So, like, these teams, they got to take care of. Stefanovic stepped up, had 23 points. Jaden Ivey, 22 points, and Travion Williams, 20 points. So there's 3 guys with 20-plus points. That's huge for them. That they need that. That's going to win you a game. You know what I mean? But it's also where you lock in on the defensive end. If you lock in on that defensive end, I'm telling you, good things will happen for them, and they will start blowing teams out. They another game that they kind of controlled the glass too, and they neutralized Armando Bacot. He had a very off night from what he's been having. He's usually efficient and scores the ball. He only had 2 points, and he ended up fouling out. So I think that Purdue I think their big is unmatched this year. Their big play. Ivy turned it around in the second half too, which brought that spark. They should have beat UNC easy though, not to like really talk down on UNC, but because they're going to be an okay ACC team, but only beating them by 9 kind of scared me at a point. But then today against Villanova, I was like, damn, they're really getting battle tested right here. You know what I mean? But they weathered both those storms, and they're proving themselves as, I would say, this might be a hot take, but I would say a top 10 team in the country, maybe top 5.
Yeah, I mean,
top 5 is the hot take part. I think they're already
yeah, for sure. But it was definitely a lot of good takeaways from the Cheez-It. It was great basketball. But I say we get into the battle for Atlantis, because that's good. That's going to be what takes up most of this week.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, wait, do you want to get into the Zags games first, or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because they have two top 5 games this week.
Yep. So Tuesday coming at you guys, we got the Zags at UCLA. That is going to be a highly anticipated game on both sides. They're both averaging 90 points per game right now, which is crazy. So this will be a high-scoring game. I suggest hammering the over if from a betting standpoint. No matter what it is, it's going to be in the 150, 140 something area. Hammer the over. UCLA is going to need to be over the glass. I think Gonzaga has a really good rebounding team in Chet and Timmy and the rebounding guards that they have. You know, they got them all-around guards and gritty guards. But honestly, I'm not going to talk too much about this game because I know we want to get into the other ones. Just from what I'm seeing, I'm going to take UCLA in this one, either money line or with the points. I think they're the deeper team. I think that they have more players that will produce for them Tuesday.
So actually, the funny thing about this game, it's in Vegas. So, everybody in the arena is going to have the over. So everybody's going to be cheering. The arena is going to be electric. It's going to be awesome. But I'm on the other side. I think Gonzaga, they play a game tomorrow night against some scrub. That'll be an off night for them. That'll be a shoot around, get ready for UCLA.
Yeah.
I think the size is too much. I think the inside out game is too much. The only question I have is, I think Mick Cronin, I think he can figure something out to send guys at Timmy and to send guys at Holmgren.
Yeah.
But just from what I've seen so far in the season, I think Gonzaga's length is too much. I think Nembhard, he's done a great job manning the ship. So I'll take Gonzaga in this one. Don't know what the spread is. I'd probably guess Gonzaga -2.5, maybe 3. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just take Gonzaga money line, but I like the Zags in this game. But in the Duke game though, I'll take the Blue Devils. I'll swallow my pride. I'll take the Blue Devils for sure.
Duke money line. Meet me at the counter. Duke money line.
Yeah, I agree. You're a Duke fan, so let's hear your take on it. You got better insight than me.
Yeah. So, just gonna say something. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if Gonzaga loses 2 high games like that. So if they end up beating UCLA, that's fine with me. I'm gonna go with UCLA for that. But Duke is beating Gonzaga, clear cut. Who's guarding Paolo Banchero? I know it's not Chet Holmgren, because if he is, it's going to be a long night. Not even being biased. It's going to be a long night for him. I think Paolo's just looks more fit out there. You know what I mean? Like, there was a game where Chet only had 2 points, I think. Was that against Texas, right? He only had 2 points. Like, what he's going to do against Duke? If he goes out there and kills, obviously, he's going to be a lottery pick in the NBA draft, so I wouldn't put it past him. But I think Duke's deeper than Gonzaga also. I think Gonzaga only has like 3 guys that can really come in and make a difference off their bench. I think Duke's the deeper team. We got Theo John off the bench. Couple other guys that are coming in off the bench too. Joey Baker, I think he's gonna hit some shots. Hopefully he'll hit some shots. But our starting 5 just is unmatched. I think Nembhard's gonna do a good job though. He's a good defensive guard, but I think we're gonna come down and come in to Gonzaga's place and win this game. Duke money line. Paolo Banchero will not be guarded, and if he is, Trevor Keels will not be guarded. You can't guard everybody. You can't guard Wendell Moore, Trevor Keels, and Paolo Banchero. You know what I mean? And then they're just going to be, if they do get guarded, if you overcommit, you run them off the 3-point line. We're throwing it up to Mark Williams. So,
yeah. I'll save the audience your Duke spiel for now. But no, this game. I think the talent level is kind of even, like as far, Banchero.
Yeah. Oh, it's not going to be a blowout. I'm just being a crazy Duke fan. I'm just dragging it. I'm dragging it.
I think this game kind of comes down to the X factors. And from what I've seen so far and just how I kind of feel as them as players, I just think the Duke X factors are just better than Gonzaga's, plain and simple. Duke, Wendell Moore, as you mentioned, Trevor Keels, great defenders. Wendell Moore has been huge for them so far. He's been doing everything. I think they're just going to show up. Julian Strother, Rasir Bolton, they're, like I said in the second episode, I think it was, they're great players. But I think, Coach K's last season, top 5 matchup, this game means a little bit more for the Blue Devils. I think they're going to get out and run. kind of stretch Gonzaga's depth, try to get Timmy into foul trouble, because that's what we didn't see from Texas. They didn't attack the rim. You're not trying to get Timmy in foul trouble. You're not trying to get Holmgren in foul trouble. We already saw from the Kentucky game, Trevor Keels, he's fearless. He's absolutely fearless. So I think these Duke guards and forwards, they're going to try to get the bigs in foul trouble, and I just think it's a favorable matchup for Duke.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of good that the Zags play UCLA on Tuesday, because we're going to get to see what these dudes are built for. You know what I mean? See if they're built for another run, like you were saying. So we're going to see what Drew Timme can do against not Dixie State. You know what I mean? Right. And see what Chet Holmgren can bring to the table. See if his offensive bag is there against UCLA. Because I'm not going to put it past him. He could score 25 points against UCLA and probably Duke, but do I think he's going to? Probably not. I don't think he's that comfortable yet to do that. But I'm taking Duke money line. That's all I'm going to say. Not going to harp on it. If you want to fade me, you can, because obviously I'm a Duke fan. But I know majority of the people I've talked to are taking Duke, and especially because they're going to be coming off of a game where they just played UCLA. Could be tiring one. Never know. But
yeah. Good game for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Let's get into the battle for Atlantis, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
So I was just kind of looking at it, and for those who don't know, we got Michigan State, Loyola Chicago, Auburn, UConn, Syracuse, VCU, Baylor, and Arizona State. So definitely a loaded field for the battle for Atlantis, and there will be fans. Unlike last year, it was a wasteland last year. It didn't even feel the same.
Yeah.
Just kind of looking at it and how the bracket was laid out. I like Baylor. I think Baylor is my pick to win this tournament. Just the way they've been playing, they haven't been messing around with teams, and it seems like they have a chip on their shoulder. And that seems kind of strange because they won the championship last year. But you got to think about it. Jared Butler's gone, MaCio Teague's gone, Davion Mitchell's gone, Mark Vital's gone. All these guys who are playing were their backups, so they got something to prove now. And they have the same system, it's like that no middle pack line defense, shoot the three. So yeah, they're my pick to win this tournament. And I would say as a sleeper, Loyola Chicago, if they can get by Michigan State in the first round, this tournament means everything for a mid-major. When is a mid-major team going to play in a tournament this big besides the NCAA tournament if they even get a bid? Loyola Chicago, they got a lot of returning guys from last year's tournament team where they beat number 1 Illinois. So I think they could be a sleeper to watch out for in this tournament.
For sure. Yeah, I like what you said about Baylor. Their first 4 games of the season, they beat up on the teams they're supposed to beat up on. So that's good. Yeah. They're not keeping it close games with Incarnate Word and Stanford. They're not keeping close games with those type of guys, which is what I like to see. From a team where you said it's a bunch of backups filling roles. Right. Flo Thamba's filling roles, LJ Cryer's filling roles. These dudes are stepping up, and they kind of were messing around with Stanford in the beginning. They were going shot for shot, they were dribbling and dabbling with them, and then out of nowhere, second half came, blew them out of the water, which I love to see. I think Scott Drew's manning the ship again. Wants his guys to be better. Yeah, they got Arizona State. That's going to be a good test for them. You know what I mean? Like Arizona State's a good team. There's always a middle of the pack team. And I don't know. I'm kind of torn between Baylor or UConn. I don't really have a sleeper for this one. I kind of like UConn because they have a really good coach in Dan Hurley. They're also playing really good too. They're another team that's not playing with their food. You know what I mean? Like they beat Long Island University by 40, 50 points. They're not playing with their food, bro. They're beating teams. I also like they're shooting about 40% from the 3 right now. As a team, that's good from what we're seeing. Notorious. They got guys in their lineup that we know are notoriously not good 3-point shooters. So I think that they're playing pretty good basketball right now. They're shooting 50% from the field too. Obviously, they're playing against low D1 schools right now early, but they're being up, handling business, showing that they can make shots. Yeah, I think that they're rebounding the ball well too early. Their leading rebounder, Andre Jackson, right now, which nobody would have guessed that at the beginning of the season if you were to ask me. Yeah. So I think they're taking care of business over there in UConn. So
yeah. So you got UConn?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with UConn to win this one. I think
I like
Baylor. I think it's UConn or Baylor. I'm gonna go with those two, but I'll take UConn. If you have to make me pick one, I'm taking UConn. But
I like that. Andre Jackson breakout year.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I seen he was I was reading some article. I don't know how legit it was, but it was like 10 college players that are due for like a breakout year that have NBA potential, and he was like number 5 or 7 on the list, something. And they were just talking about his upside with his athleticism, and he's got to be better shooting the ball. But they also, it's actually crazy though, because they said he was a underrated passer or something about his passing ability that was crazy. And I was like, oh, that's crazy, because Julian said that. You know, I never really thought about that watching him in high school and stuff. I never really realized he was an underrated passer. But yeah, I guess other people notice it, so it's a good thing.
Yeah. No, if he plays well in this tournament, you know, some people are going to be happy, but some people are going to be sick. You know who.
Yeah, we know who. But yeah, if he plays good, you never know. Sky's the limit for him. Could be NBA already. Could be NBA already this year. So yeah, that covers the battle for Atlantis. You got anything else you want to say about any other teams that are in it?
You know, not really. You know, we saw Q's. They just gave up 100 points to Colgate. That's gross.
That's bad. Yeah, I wanted to throw up.
That is absolutely disgusting. They don't have a center. It's going to be the same Q's team, though. You know,
that's what I said. They don't have a center, bro. Like, they can't bang at the center position, which is going to hurt them come ACC play, because Duke's got Paolo, Mark Williams, Theo John. UNC's got Armando Baycott. You know what I mean? Like, these teams have good big men in the ACC. So, like,
at the same time, it's the same. It's going to be the same Q's team we've seen every single year. They're going to squeak in the tournament. People are going to be like, how the hell did they get in the tournament? Like, there's no way this team, they should. They're
going to live and die by the 3.
Yeah, and then they're going to go to the Elite 8 or something stupid like that. So, you know, you gotta weather the storm with the Syracuse team. You know, they're going to have bad losses. They're going to have some quality wins, but nothing else really. You know, Michigan State, but I don't think Izzo really cares about winning this tournament, to be honest. I think he's more focused on March. So
that's the same thing. That's the same thing with Cuse. I don't think Boeheim's focused on winning this tournament. No. You know, just practice. You know, as sad as to say, it's probably just a little practice for them. Even though they just lost to Colgate, so they better have something to prove against VCU. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? But this is definitely going to be a UConn or a Baylor type of thing, from my opinion. But yeah, so that wraps that up. That gameplay will be coming at us this week. Another tournament, Maui Invitational is coming up. Yeah, you can start on this one if you want.
Yeah, you know, not really as loaded field as the battle for Atlantis, but you know, we got some good teams. We got Butler. You know, they've been playing okay basketball. I know they got smoked by Michigan State, but you know, the Big East, they've been playing well this year. Yeah. Houston, they just beat up on Virginia. Oregon, coming off that bad loss from BYU, so you know, like to see a nice bounce back from there. And speaking of that, they're kind of my pick to win this. Now looking at it, you know, like I just said, they just got manhandled by BYU, so I think Dane Altman is kind of going to be like, listen, guys, we got to beat this tournament. We got to beat every team in this tournament. You know, there's no reason they should be playing around with Texas A&M, Wisconsin. So I think Dane Altman, he's gonna use 94 feet pressure. His guys are gonna hit shots, maybe not score 49 points in a game this time.
Yeah,
I think a sleeper in this tournament is St. Mary's. They don't really shoot the 3 that well, or at least they didn't last year. But they have a lot of returning minutes. So they kind of play a pack line defense. They kind of just like run their sets. So I think, and they're actually facing your ACC sleeper, Notre Dame, in the first round. So I think that'll probably be one of their biggest tests in this tournament. But yeah, I would say Oregon's probably my pick to win this, just because of that loss to BYU, and then St. Mary's as a sleeper candidate.
So it's crazy that you have St. Mary's as a sleeper. You know, we usually talk about these things. I actually didn't know that you had that. I'm gonna go with Notre Dame money line as my sleepers. You know, I love what Notre Dame's got going on over there. I don't know why. I literally can't tell you why. I just have this thing with Notre Dame this year that they shoot the 3. You know what I mean? They go after dudes. I think that they're underlooked. They got the Yale transfer, Paul Atkinson. He's going crazy already this year. Like I told you before the season that they had him coming in, 18 points per game, 9 rebounds per game. Great addition to their offense. I think he's fueling that offense up. Lewandowski doing his thing, 12 rebounds per game early. They, like you said, they've been playing scrubs though for the most part, but still it's good to, assert yourself early and build up this confidence because you're going to need it come ACC play. I think they need to be better offensively. Only 41% from the field so far throughout these games. They should be making more shots against these lower D1 teams. But yeah, I think they beat Mount St. Mary's. I think they've been battle tested already. You know what I mean? With their schedule that they've had already. And I think they handle Mount St. Mary's. That's going to be my sleeper. But, my overall winner for the Maui Invitational is going to be Houston. I think Houston has something to prove. I know you like Houston, so I'm just going to say a little bit and then you can add in some stuff. But I think they're playing Butler. Big East has been sneaky, so Big East teams are trying to prove themselves this year. But I think Houston's going to win this game solely off the fact that we just seen them beat up on Virginia, which no one really thought they were going to do that. You know what I mean? People thought they were going to win, but they beat up on them pretty bad. You know what I mean? They, they averaged more rebounds and assists and points per team totals than Butler does so far throughout what we've seen so far. And Marcus Sasser has just been unmatched this year. I think he's proving himself to be an NBA talent. He's having a great year. 24 points per game on 47%. That's pretty sneaky, especially coming out of the American. I don't think people are really looking at Marcus Sasser as like a problem to the, as a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to pick Houston to win this, but just kind of how the bracket was outlined, they're going to have to meet Oregon in the chip, presumably. And I just think, if they meet in the championship, Oregon speeds up the pace. I don't think Houston can handle that pace, kind of like we saw in the game versus Baylor, just running up and down the court. But you're right. I do love Houston. I'll always have a soft spot for Marcus Sasser. And I'll probably, if they face Oregon in the championship, I'll probably end up betting Houston, to be honest. But, Oregon's my pick. And hopefully St. Mary's doesn't disappoint me with the sleeper pick.
Yeah, for sure. So I think we've pretty much covered everything. We got Texas A&M playing Wisconsin. Don't know much about that matchup. I know they got Henry Coleman, 13-6 per game for Texas A&M. They should win that game. They got the better record so far. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the Maui Invitational. Battle for Atlantis. I think we covered all the other games. So are you watching any games tonight? You got any last minute picks for anybody? Well, actually, this isn't going to be up until tomorrow. So
yeah, I'll be tuned into the Michigan game, but no picks. But now we kind of hit on everything. Really, really exciting week coming up for us. Not only because of the games, but because next episode we're going to be in person. No more laptop. No more bad quality sounds.
Yeah, I know this. This episode kind of was a little fuzzy at times and you were lagging more than often, but I think we get the point, we get the gist. Nobody's watching the video really. They're going to be listening if anything.
So we hit on everything, and I'm looking forward to this week for sure. For sure. How's Louisville been looking? Just a little small talk at the end. Stop. They're so bad, it's unbelievable. First of all, we lost to Furman. I don't know how we lost to Furman. I had people telling me they're good. If they're not good, their name is Furman. Then we just got taken to the wire to like Detroit Mercy or something like that.
No, they're good though. Antoine Davis is nice though. He's nice. He's like a top 10 scorer.
But it's like, come on, man. Chris Mack, you've been here 5 years. You got to figure out something that works. Like,
you guys were 16-point favorites against Detroit Mercer, and it came down to like a 4-point game, I think.
You can't be having fits with Detroit Mercy and Furman. So no, I probably won't watch a Louisville game this year. It's
You're out on Louisville.
Chris Mack has to go. Yeah, I'm out on Louisville. I was completely kidding when I called them my ACC sleeper in the beginning of the year.
They might not make the tournament, if we're being honest.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I was definitely joking when I called them.
Honestly, it's like Boston College and Louisville in my opinion, right now. Like Boston College might be better than Louisville right now.
Yeah. Easy.
So yeah.
But they're terrible. Out on them.
But yeah, on that note, we're gonna hop off. This was a good episode. We got a lot of stuff coming at you next week, like he said. He's gonna be in person episode. But yeah, go check out Kyle and Gavin's podcast too. They're dropping content every few
Tomorrow,
days,
right?
just like we are. What?
Yeah, they should be dropping tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they got all the NFL Outlook, two good guys over there. So check that out. But yeah, we're done here.
Salute.